Okay, Divorce is Not an Option podcast. Thanks for
Hey
joining
y'all,
us.
please be sure to subscribe and follow our podcast so that you can be automatically alerted when we produce a new episode on iTunes, Spreaker.com, Google Play, YouTube, and SoundCloud. And tell a friend and repost and retweet this podcast for us. Thank you.
What is the hey y'all?
I don't know, I'm a
What is that
Texas
about?
girl. That's just what I do. I just say, hey
But you're not.
y'all.
That's not. You're not country at
You know
all.
what?
Like
My
you just
people are
do.
country. I have been trained to, let a little bit out at a time, but yeah, I got that East Texas in me.
So is hey y'all like a normal thing that you do? Like if you say it's a family,
Uh-huh.
like you going over, like if everybody's gathered for Christmas dinner and you walk in, you say hey y'all to
Yep,
your brothers, your
yep,
auntie. You walk in the room, you say hey
exactly.
y'all. Okay,
Exactly. So now
okay.
we all family.
Right. Okay. Hey. Also. Okay. So you're approaching the podcast listeners and saying, "Hey, family, how are y'all doing?"
Exactly.
That's what the "Hey
Exactly.
y'all" is. Okay. I thought about it. I listened to the last week's podcast, and it just dawned on me. You say "Hey y'all" at the beginning of every podcast. I really did think about that, and you say like it is intentional. It is not like that's not in the script. "Hey y'all" is not in the script. Podcast listen. She ad-libbing that into the script every
I gotta
week.
represent my Texas. Okay.
You start off with, "Hey y'all," and I wonder, is it even on purpose? Like, do you write it in your script, or you
I
just
just
naturally,
naturally
when we
say that.
starting
That's
off, we
just
say,
how I
"Hey y'all,"
start. Hey y'all.
"Hey y'all,"
All
yeah,
right,
yeah,
come
yeah.
back.
That's
Come
funny.
back.
Okay, today. Today we're going to talk about an article on StephenJamesDixon.com. And for people who look for these articles, sometimes people contact me. My website is pretty straightforward. Like if you go to StephenJamesDixon.com and you click on articles, there's articles for marriage, there's articles for divorce, there's articles for husbands, for wives, for dating. There's a whole nother page for divorce is not an option articles I've written. There's another page for love capacity stuff I've written. One of the most fun parts I never get to talk about, we got to get into this again, Tamara, one day, is I used to write Q&A
Oh
articles where people
yeah.
would submit questions. Those were so much fun. People love those. We may have to just pull from some of those sometimes, just
Yeah, that's not
revisit
a
them.
bad idea.
For fun purposes. But today we talk about 10 ways to go from
Okay.
girlfriend to wife.
So
10
I just made this
ways.
transition from girlfriend to wife a few months ago.
Oh, you want me to just turn off? Like you can just handle this? I can go now?
I am not
You got
an
this one?
expert on this, but I will say, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, I just did, I think it was just a natural progression. And it was not stuff that I had been doing before. And it's just, after messing up so many times, you finally start figuring out how to do it right. And I think that's just it was just a progression of having made so many mistakes.
That is an interesting point. You want to dig into that now? Or you want
Let's
to
wait.
wait?
Let's get into the article and then we can dig into it.
Okay, 10 ways to go from girlfriend to wife. What's interesting about this article was this was my very first article that I wrote for Essence.com.
Oh wow! Now I'm feeling all sentimental. That
And
means it was
so
the
it
first
was,
article I edited.
yep. And so what was funny about it was they just called me and out of the blue and said, "Hey, this is Essence." And I was like, "Essence who?" They was like, "This is like the Essence." I was like, "The Essence." Like, okay, yeah, I know Essence, I think now. And they was like, "No, the magazine Essence." And they liked my Men Don't Heal We Ho book. One of the writers there for Love and Relationships had read the book and was like, "Hey, do you think you could write an article for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, I could write an article for you. Can you get it done by tomorrow?" "Yeah, I can get it done by tomorrow." And so I actually like wrote all night one art. And what's funny about this too is it's really, I mean, let me pat myself on the back for a second. It really is, you got to announce it
Yeah,
and you're still
whatever.
going to do it. I don't know if that matters if you
Uh-uh.
announce it first. Do you think it matters if you
Uh-uh.
announce it first? It don't matter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's still like, yeah. Um, I just sat down. I never had any training, never had any thought. I just wrote a book, and then I just sat down and wrote an article. Like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna write an article, and I'm gonna write 10 different things. And a lot of times, I always start out with that in mind. Like, I'm gonna write 10 ways to go from girlfriend to wife, and I just boom wrote it, and it was the most popular article on
Oh
Essence.com for
wow.
that year. and it's been reposted in magazines and blog spots in London, in South Africa, some places in the Caribbean. It was translated to French for a magazine in Canada, and so the article has really traveled all around.
I
So
think
10
it's
ways to go from
a
girlfriend to wife.
great perspective, and because me being older, I got married at 40, and I waited and I was looking for that perfect guy. And I finally had to recognize, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. And so I wasn't looking for the perfect guy so much as Mr. Right for me, Mr. Perfect for me. And so I think that these things kind of in your article touch on things that help you to not just be who you want to be for your future spouse, but to help you kind of figure out the character of your future spouse.
Yeah, and I think too what I try to do in the article, like maybe okay, we got 10 things, right? So maybe two of them you hate, right? I don't know. Maybe I think all
Mm-hmm.
10 are within reason. Um, all 10 have uh, a spirit of let's do what's best for the marriage. How can I be the best
Exactly.
wife that I can be? How can I make my husband happy? It's not necessarily that I'm not writing 10 things that are perfect for women per se. It's more 10 things that are perfect in a marriage that adds value to a marriage all the way down to I talk about sex later. Sex is
So
important in
that's
a
a good
marriage. And
point
so, what we
to
got?
highlight is that this article is giving women who are single things to do to kind of, I guess, shine a light on who you are as a woman for a man. But they also are things that carry over into marriage. So once you get married, you're not done.
Right. And really it kind of outlines too, what you need to be able to do. And these are things that I don't think I asked anything that is difficult or hard, unreasonable. This is what you do. And for people who fantasize about marriage, this is what marriage will look
Okay,
like if
so
you're
that
doing
being
it
said,
correctly.
let's get into it. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. So, your first one is be a woman all day, everywhere. And it talks about having respect and pride and dignity in yourself. And one of the points that you made that I really like, if your friends take advantage of you, your man will too. If your coworkers, your supervisors take advantage of you, your man will too. So you need to be confident in yourself and be, as you put it, sexy, sweet, sassy, feminine, and most of all, womanly.
Right. Like, and I just wanted women to understand that you have to be strong. Like you may become weak for your man, but you have to be a strong woman. And we need strong women, especially in this day and age when a lot of us men haven't been properly
And
trained
I
to be a husband. And so we need women who are more closely
and
trained to be a
yeah, I
wife
would
to
say not say
be
be
strong.
weak for your man, but be soft for your man.
Yes, that's correct. Be soft for your man, but be hard because we're not perfect, and sometimes we get to tripping. I was giving someone an example over the weekend in this, whereas I remember early on in my marriage, I was going out. And my wife was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Man, I gotta tell her where I'm going." And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to Papa though." And she was
Yes, you
like,
have to tell her where you going.
I really like thought like, do I have to
Yes.
tell her? Like I think, and I, was trying to find where it was written down. I got to tell her, and I was, you
You are
know what?
no
I think
longer
I got to
on
tell
your
her. I'm
own.
just gonna give her this. Right. I can't just leave and just walk out. I can't just walk out the door. You know what I'm saying? And so then she was like, "Okay, where you going after that?" I was like, "Wait a minute, you taking this too far." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "You want to know where I'm going after
You
I
have
leave Papa
entitled.
Do's? Like, isn't it enough that I gave you one location?" She was like, "No, I want to know everywhere my husband is." And I was like, "What? Really?" She was like, "What if something happened to you? What if you go missing? I don't know what you was doing. I don't know where you was. I'm concerned. I want to know where you at." I said, "You want to know every move I make? So if I go from Papa Do's to Champs to Wingstop to Cafe
All of
Brazil, yes, I want to know all of it and the times you're there." And I'm like, I'm not checking in. She was like, "But if I call you and you're not where you say you are,
it.
it's
Right.
gonna be a problem." So then I got to do stuff like when she called me, I'm at Papados, and then when I go to Champs, she called me. I got to not answer, then go back to
Okay,
Papados and
but
call
men
her
will
from
act
there.
like this is such a big deal. It's a text message. It's just a, hey, babe, I'm going from Papados to
Yeah,
Champs. That's it.
yeah. I ain't doing it. I'm just
Whatever.
gonna, this is why I go rogue. Why I go rogue on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? I ain't doing it.
You
I
do
do,
it.
but I do assume. I'm not. What I'm gonna say is I do assume that it's gonna be a problem if I get caught somewhere I'm not supposed to be. I do understand. Like I said, when she called and I'm not at Papados, I'm not gonna respond. I'm gonna drive back to Papados and call from the parking lot. Like, yeah, I was at Papados the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So I jump through those kind of hoops just to keep a little bit of my manhood. Like I ain't gotta be telling that woman where I'm at all the time.
Whatever.
You know
All
what I'm
right. Next.
saying? But the point was that we want women to be strong, man. And if you if you allow a man to run over you, he will. Like I had a woman tell me one time, she said, "When will my husband start showing me more respect?" And I looked at her and I said, you get it? Like it's a random day. Like every Tuesday we reset. Right, but she was dead serious. Like, I'm like every Tuesday there's a reset, and maybe this time the reset, like the update to your iPhone, when it come automatically, the reset will download, and your husband, he will start respecting you. You know what I mean?
We automatically give you respect based on your position. If you are the president, we automatically respect you. If you are my husband, I automatically respect you. And so that's how women think. Men, on the other hand, respect you based on you earning it.
Yeah, you got to earn it. Like another quick one was too. A woman said to me one day, she said, "Can you tell my husband to start coming home at a reasonable hour?" And I was like, "Am I a principal or something here?" Like I can't institute, rules in your household like that. No one's gonna respect that. I'm not gonna. Hey, you need to have your ass at the house by 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like I said, you got to do that, and y'all got to agree on the time. And then if you have time on an agreement, I can help, with an agreement, but I can't hand out punishment. I can't hand out discipline in a marriage. That's got to come from you, woman. And so you got to be woman. Don't be a little girl. You got to be a grown woman. And if you're not ready to be a grown woman,
that again is
a
challenge for us because we already come into this with some idea of how to be a wife. And a lot of times husbands come into it with no clue. Okay. So next. Be independent. And this is not just about money, but it's about being an independent thinker and taking the time to learn what works best for you and knowing yourself and who you are and not letting anybody be able to change that or deter you from what you know is right or wrong.
It's disappointing that this one is so difficult because I've seen relationships where the woman changed to the woman the husband wanted her to be. He said it again. The woman changed to the woman that the husband wanted her to be, and then he didn't want her anymore.
And that happens. That's girlfriends too. Like you're in a relationship and you think, a man is putting off, this is what I want. This is what I'm expecting. These are, he's setting all the terms. We only going to talk every other day.
Right.
We only going to go out on Fridays.
Right.
And she falls in line and then he doesn't respect her because she not checking him on what you do on the days we don't talk and that we don't go out.
Yep. And so if you're not an independent thinker, meaning that the other part of that is that I have my own thoughts and our relationship is not necessarily planned by your plan. It's not your plan. It is our plan. And I have a lot of women who really only know how to agree with their man. That's all they know how to do is whatever he got planned. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be engaged for this amount of time. We're going to get married on this day. We're going to have kids at this time. And, and I'm like, no, it's not hot. It's not sexy. It's not balanced. And I think over the long haul, it makes it worse for the relationship.
So I'm just like, that is my goal, is to teach the world because we as women are taught to do whatever it takes to make your man happy. And little do you know, half the time what he's saying or what he's doing is not what's going to make him happy.
I really wish that, you could convey, how and I don't know if we have even the time. That may be a whole nother show. I just remember, I will always remember when you said to me one day that the woman is not built to protect herself
We're
against the
not.
man. And I was like, that's one of the most profound things I've ever heard. Like, and,
Because in
and,
our
and,
design, the man is supposed to be our protector. He's supposed to protect us against everything, including himself.
and so, but man, that's amazing. Like, and I try to bring that in when I'm coaching couples and trying to say to woman, like, he's supposed to protect you. And if you can't hold them to your standard of protection, then you cannot
Yeah,
be
that's a
with him.
tough one.
You know, like if you can't be submissive to the
Because I
man,
have
then you're not
seen
supposed to be
dudes
with him.
stand
If you
up
don't
and
respect
go
him,
off and tell somebody off about how they treating their woman and then turn around and treat her like crap.
right?
I've seen it. That's just crazy to me. But anyway, so yes, that goes back to being independent, being strong in self, and knowing right from wrong and not taking anything less. Set your standards. And if you are one to excel, make sure
Knowing,
you set excellent
go ahead.
standards.
Yeah, knowing, and then once I get a lot of women who know right from wrong, but they doubt themselves. And I believe in the woman's discernment. You know what I mean? I believe in a woman. A woman is more advanced in terms of initially having an understanding and a path toward a relationship. You know what I mean? Like when a man and a woman meet, we thinking about sex. The woman is thinking about, okay, she might be thinking about sex too, but she could also be thinking about, okay, how do I, make this relationship turn into something that's worth my time? How do I show the great, things about me? How do I learn more about him? We
Well,
have none of that thought process
that's
in
where
mind.
it
We
becomes a
just trying to
challenge
figure out how to
because
get that
women
woman.
start to question themselves because you can be with a man and you can be like he can kiss a woman in front of you and you can be like, how dare you kiss that woman? And he'll say, what woman? And you be like, that woman standing right next to you. There's no woman next to me. And the man will be adamant. And
And
you're
tell the
like,
woman,
well,
like, I'm
maybe
crazy.
I'm imagining the woman next to him.
Yeah, I've had women who have come to me like maybe after the divorce and just really was just looking for me to validate that they weren't crazy in the marriage. And I'm like, no, we're in a healing process. We're in a forgiving process. We're moving forward. We don't have to dwell on wrong or right a year ago person. How can we learn from this situation to make sure that when we are blessed to get another spouse, or another relationship or whatever, if that's what you want to be blessed with, if that's what you pray about, that we will not
But that
have
is
the
the
same
tactic
mistakes from
that
the past.
some men use, that crazy making, until you feel like you are so insecure in everything about yourself that, you now are carrying that forward. And that's something that you have to heal from to be able to have another healthy relationship. Anyway, I
Yep.
feel like we're going on a whole different path, but bringing it back.
Some of them, hey, some of them is gonna be me going, and then some of them is gonna be you going. So
But
we
the
don't
whole
know.
point was 10 things, 10 ways to go from girlfriend to wife. So the next one is to stay on your tippy toes. Um, and this one, you say, Stephen, you say, don't get comfortable or lazy on your man. And that is so important. Don't think he's just going to marry you because you've been together for X number of years or whatever. And you say, get finer, get smarter, be better. So grow in who you are and just become a better person and be somebody that your husband or your boyfriend or whoever is excited to see, what you're going to do next.
And that came from, I was working with a woman one time who had recently broke off a relationship of like 3 or 4 years, and she was just like, I don't know how we didn't progress our relationship to marriage. I'm the same woman today as I was 3 years ago, and I'm like, that's the
Yeah.
problem because you're the same. You know what I mean? Like all of us want to marry people who are improving and getting better. And like I said, getting finer, getting smarter, getting better, just all of us need to be improving in every way that we are in order to be successfully married. If I'm gonna be married to you today and 5 years from now, you know what I'm saying, and 10 years from now, you can't be the same person.
Amen to
We got to
that.
be better.
So the next one is turn his house into a home. And this one cracks me up because I just had this conversation yesterday, and my husband was like, "What a charger?" Like he was just tripping that chargers are so important, and he was like, "I just thought it was a bigger plate." But yours is, as a single brother, you said your crib had the bare necessities, and your woman came by and slowly started to upgrade your stuff and bring pictures and artwork and painting rooms and just decorating your house and just adding kind of a woman's touch. And those are things that a lot of men just don't know about. I mean, you may have somebody who's like a super metro dude, but the average guy does not have a charger in his house.
The average guy just doesn't have, like, the average guy is not, like, I had, like, a painting, but the painting was Biggie and Tupac, and everybody had that painting. Everybody had the paint. You remember the painting where Biggie and Tupac was sitting at the table? Yeah, that I had that on the wall. You know what I'm saying? And one day my wife, my girlfriend at the time, was like, "Hey, that's not like considered like art. That's more like you got a poster in your living room."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I understand, like, she brought in mirrors, and I was like, "Put a mirror on the wall? Like, why? Like, mirrors for looking in to see how your clothes look." You know what I'm saying? And she was like, "No, mirror adds length." Right, it adds length to the wall, and it adds a classy feel to it. Like, she had all these things, and that made me say, "Oh, she's different," because I had dated so many women who were just there to hang out with me and to be with me. We just gonna have sex, and it's not gonna go anywhere because I don't know you have anything else to offer.
This is a great point. Like, this is something that should be highlighted out of all the other ones, because one, as a woman, our instinct is to not do this when we really want to, because when we're with a guy who doesn't seem to be progressing in the relationship, we've been together for X amount of time, I don't want to scare him off by bringing stuff in his house. Now, mind you, you're not going to do this on the first date, but
right.
Yeah, but once you're a couple months in, bringing a candle over, or asking him if he wants an accent wall or something, those kind of things, enlighten the man, and it also separates the men from the boys. Now, if he starts tripping and being like, "Oh, dog, she done left pillows in my house, she got to go," then that's not the one.
That's a good sign for you to know. That's a good sign for the woman to know that, okay, this man is not ready, and I need not waste any more time. Because I distinctly remember things like when my wife bought the candles. Like, I went to light the candles, and she was like, "No, boo, you don't light those. Put that above the fireplace on the mantle." This is a candle display. Like, it had like little rocks. It's decorative, you know what I mean? It had rocks, and there were different size candles and all that. She said, "No, you don't like that. You just sit there, and it's gonna add some ambiance to your room and to your fireplace." And then I remember, like, one day we were in the kitchen, and she said, "Get that Pyrex from down there." And I was like, "I don't have no Pyrex." She was like, "Get that Pyrex from under the cabinet right there." I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have no Pyrex in no cabinet."
Now.
And she was like, "I purchased Pyrex and put it in your cabinet because I can't cook over here without Pyrex. I knew I was going to cook, and I bought Pyrex, and I just put it on the cabinet where it go. And I open up the cabinet. I'm like, is this glass dish a Pyrex?" And she like, "Yeah, get that out of here." I didn't even know what it was. Like, it's just a glass dish. Yeah. What you do with it? Like, you gonna put stuff in it and put it in the oven? Oh, okay. I thought you only do that like with chicken or something like that. Like, if you said get a dish to put some chicken in, I'd have did that. But I ain't had none of that. I mean, it's just all, and like when she said, you should do an accent wall right here. I was like, an accent wall? Like, I wasn't even paying attention to all that kind of stuff. And so she just brought value into my life. Like, even times when I would say things, let's have a barbecue, and I'm gonna have a barbecue, and she would say, I'm gonna get chips and barbecue, get some sauce, get some green beans, I'll get some cookies from that bakery over there. And she was just like, let's bake a cake. Like, she actually wanted me to treat my guests like real people instead of like my friends.
And feed them more than meat.
Like I would barbecue. Right, like I would barbecue, and I'll just leave it on the stove. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, "Hey, these little candle things are not that cheap that you can get and keep your food warm for the entire time of the party." And I was like, "They know what time the food get done." You know what I'm saying? Like, If they don't get here at 5, the food is gonna be cold at 6. That's on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a dude. I was a barbarian
That is
temper.
hilarious.
I did not know.
And I think that's another thing to highlight, that initially, as a woman, you might get this reaction from your man. Like, I don't need all that. What is all that? Like, he initially might have that reaction, and that is not necessarily a bad thing. And that does not necessarily mean he's not the one. Now, if he freaks out and is like, hiding stuff or throwing stuff or asking you not to bring the stuff after the initial reaction, then run. Exactly.
If he rejects, the education. One more. I had just a couple months ago. I was talking about this article with a person in relationship coaching, and she was frustrated because they had been dating for like 4 years and they hadn't got married yet, and they weren't engaged. And I was like, well, tell me some more about it. And I started talking about this, and I said, turn this house into a home. And she started crying when I said it, and because I gave her those examples. And I was like, why did that make you start crying? She said, because he's been in this house for 2 years. We've been dating for 4 years. His mother just came in town last month and bought him curtains. And she was like, I knew he needed curtains, but I didn't tell him. I didn't go get them. I didn't add any value. I just be in the house with the blinds. And I don't know about no window treatment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really didn't understand the purpose of curtains. Like, to me, everything got to have a purpose. My wife was like, just to make your house look nice. And I was like, oh, my blinds are dope, though. I got great blinds. I spent extra money on some blinds. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the high quality wood, 2-inch or 3-inch thick blinds. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done with the windows. My wife was like, no, we're going to get these curtains. The curtains got to go all the way to the floor. They got to match the decor of the room. And I was like, let's just go back. And she was like, no, you don't just buy curtains. You got to make sure what furniture you're going to have. I was like, really got to do all that? Yes. Men don't know. And that woman did not do that. And his mother came in. And
yeah, I think one thing that you just pointed out that basically covers this whole list is add value. Add value in ways that he can't or doesn't know how to on his own. Right. Exactly. And so the next one is be a godly woman. And we as women all say we want a godly man, but are we actually exemplifying that for the man that we're with? Like, do we actually read the Bible? Do we actually follow the Bible? Do we pray? That's one thing that is I don't hear much about in relationships. Like, do you pray together? Do you pray for him? Like, do you just say in the midst of something, do you say, hey babe, let's just stop and pray because he's got X, Y, or Z going on, and just cover him? Like, that's what a man needs, is to know that his wife is there and covering him, and she knows God and she has a relationship with God, and in the future she'll be able to teach and pass that word on to their kids.
The only thing I can say about this is there's nothing more humbling. You tell me if you could think of something more humbling than this. There's nothing more humbling than to have your partner pray over you.
Right, I totally agree.
Like for real, like if you I've been in situations where I was about to go on TV, or I was tired, or I was stressed, or I was sick, and to have my wife just grab me in the back of a studio and just lay hands on me and, Father Jesus, please be with my husband as he goes in this endeavor. Please watch over him, and, just pray over me. Or when I'm sick, like, and, I done been sick, and, not crazy deathbed sick, but I'm just sick and I'm not feeling well. And just to have her just pray over me to give me strength or healing or to bless me. And the times that she's done, I'll just pass out. Like, I'll just be gone, wake up, and, and I ain't going to say I'm wake up. I'm amazing. That would be funny though, right? But, then I woke up and I was perfect after that, and I was strong, and I ran 10 miles after that, I ain't saying it's got to be all that, but it's just very humbling to have her just talk to God about me. And so, and even if you're not a super spiritual or religious or Christian person or whatever, and even if you don't need it today, there will be a time Well, you don't
And
need
I mean,
somebody to pray for you.
that's how mine got me. Like I was having a very, very stressful time at work with a client, and when we were dating, and he just stopped and started praying over me. And I was just like, wow. I was just speechless and, like you said, humbled. And yeah, yeah, he got me.
So you gonna just say
Yes, I
humbled,
am
even
gonna.
though I say
Yes,
humble?
yes, I
You just
am.
gonna do that? Just gonna correct me live on the
That's what I
podcast? I
do.
got
That's what
what?
I
It's
do.
humble, huh? Okay.
Okay, so the next one is watch his mama and do what she do. And you say you don't have to be his mama, but I mean that to that example that you just spoke about, when mama comes in and hangs some curtains, she could have followed right along and brought some pillows to match the curtains instead of crying about it. Um,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
your example is like during the holidays when you're at your man's family's house, if grandmama and mama and auntie are all in the kitchen and you in the den watching the game, y'all may be having a good time, but he probably ain't gonna stay with you.
Right. He looking for, and this is not about some old school woman should be in the kitchen every single day and be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. I'm nowhere near on that. I'm just talking about when you go home for the first time or the first couple times with your partner, it's an interview, right? And so you want to put your best foot forward. It's just like if the dudes are outside in the yard, working on the car, you in the house watching Young and the Restless. You know what I'm saying? Dad gonna come in and say, "Don't marry that soft dude," you know what I mean, or whatever. He just, it's some dudes lifting a refrigerator, going through the living room to the kitchen, and you just watch them do it. You don't offer to
Yeah.
lend a hand or nothing. Like and then the big thing about mom too is mom is looking for a woman that can
Yes,
take
she
care of her son. And if you don't exhibit that,
mm-mm,
she ain't gonna
at all.
support you.
And you want mama as an ally. No, I'm just saying. I got my mama stories. I know that I have two brothers, and my mother is watching like a hawk, and she's critiquing. And yes, that my brother brought home. His girlfriend is a chef, and just the fact that she could cook and has all these things. My mother has definitely become her ally versus others who have been like, mama is not gonna take it, and she will let him know it every which way that she don't like that girl.
And that's, you just said the key, that mama
Mhm.
becomes an ally. And that is why you in the kitchen, with mama, doing some minuscule task. Maybe you cracking eggs or something, or, you throwing flour, or you spinning a pizza there. I don't know. Or you seasoning the meat. You adding value again. You helping out instead of just
Yeah,
sitting on your butt watching the game. Because all of this could be times for adding value and building rapport so you can have mama
exactly.
be an ally later.
But I read this just this last time that I read it, and my first thought was, is this still true for millennials? Like, is that traditional woman in the kitchen or woman doing, the decor? Is that still even valid?
I believe it is because I mean a lot of the core fundamental responsibilities or things of a relationship will ring true forever. In terms of how to get to the man is through his stomach. And I don't think that means that you have to actually cook for the man every day. Like I no longer believe, for the record, I no longer believe in woman cooking every day.
Amen.
Life is just too fast. We got too much going on. My mother used to get home at 5 every day so she can cook every day. My wife don't get home till 7. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna wait for her to get home. So we starving. My son need to eat. No, we're not doing all that. And so we try to plan in advance. I try to cook when I can, which is she'll say never, basically.
You can be the
So
best
I had to add that in
DoorDash
case she listens to
orderer
this
ever.
podcast. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'll go and order food from Central Market and just stock up and we'll eat. You know what I mean? And all that. But I'm not on some traditional sense of, and really I focus on being happy. Right. And so when I talk about stuff like that, I'm just saying that be happy. Just do what makes each other happy. Don't be on some old, and to my men, don't be that dude that's like, where my dinner at? Like, I'm not feeling that. That's, like, that's so, and the reason why I say that is because my mother was not happy. So we got a lot of men like I watched my mother serve men. Like I watched my mother go to work and my father go to work and my father come home and sit at a table and put his hat down like he did something different than what she did. No, she went to work too. And she come running in to cook and she
Yep.
totally stressed out, and it's got to be hot. Like the food, I don't know how they did it back then, but the food was hotter. Maybe because it came off a stove and not a microwave
I
or
think
something. You know what I'm saying?
electric.
It used to be piping hot. Right, that too. It was piping hot when they set the food down on the plate on the table, right? And so, but I just remember thinking, like, now that I'm married and I got a wife, I want my wife to be happy. I think about her being happy before I think about her making sacrifice or me wanting some preconceived notion or me feeling like woman should be doing something every day or you need to wash dishes because you're a woman or you need to bring me a plate because you're a woman. Like, I don't believe in all that stuff. I believe in what makes both of us happy. And if she gonna bring me a plate, what am I gonna do for her? It's gotta be an equal thing. I had to tell a group of men the other day, I told a group of men the other day, I said, I don't let my wife outwork me around the house. I don't do it. I can't just lay on the couch while she's working and adding value to the house, And it's a lot of men that do. A lot of men come on play video games while the wife in the kitchen. Come on play video games while, wife is doing homework with the kids and all that kind of stuff. I don't have that capability. I gotta be productive. She's being productive. I'm being productive. She washing dishes. I'm washing clothes. She bathing a baby. I'm folding clothes. You know what I mean? I'm doing something of value in the house. And that's not to say I can't enjoy myself. What I'll do is I'll just do it on the commercials. I'm watching the game. During the commercials, I'll go and put a load of laundry in.
That's multitasking.
And while you watching a multitask, where I can't just sit, and do nothing while she's being productive. I don't want her to build that resentment. Like, I don't want her to feel like he's not doing nothing and and I get that all the time from women who say to me, my husband is not productive enough. He just watched the game all day Saturday, and we gotta grow out of that.
Even
fellas.
like if you have an all day Saturday, that you usually like this is your schedule or whatever. I don't think that's a bad thing as long as those 6 other days you're doing something. I personally believe in having a Sabbath once a week and you rest, but them other days you need to be getting to it. Okay. So, challenge him is the next one. And I think this is another one that needs to be highlighted, because you say if a man doesn't have to respect you, he won't. I mean, that's just it.
Right. Pretty clear. Like, if you don't challenge him, I mean, that challenging, and it requires people to grow, And so if you don't have the idea that we're going to grow and evolve and get better and things like that, you can't stay at the same place. And we don't, like I talked about earlier, we don't generally, get to a place where we just accept whatever. That's the sad thing too about marriage, is that people think that their partners will just accept whatever when they don't, like you search for perfection and you're not perfect. Like, I
think we all have an interesting self-view. A lot of people you don't see your imperfections, or you've learned to live with your imperfections. You don't think about it. Living with somebody else, you see their imperfections, and it can be a constant reminder of what they are not doing that you would do or that you want done. But yeah, so you put in here, if my wife would allow me to have a girlfriend, I would, and I go to church every Sunday. You crazy. You are crazy.
Yeah, I needed a woman with a backbone. I'm just saying that women, that if you don't have a backbone, if you're afraid of your man, if you can't make him respect you, if the relationship is not balanced, it will not work over time. Because that's like, give me some scientific statement, Tamara. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's scientific in terms of the weight will win out if it's not balanced. That's just
the reality of it. Like, that's how men are built. And like you said, women just have to have a backbone.
Right. Like say, for example, if you got a table and you got something really heavy on one side of the table, over the years, that side of the table that's carrying the heavy side is going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And you have to be able to balance out the table so the table can stand forever. A table can stand forever if it's balanced. And balance meaning either nothing on it or a lot of stuff on it, whatever, as long as it's balanced, it has a better chance of lasting a long time. So the marriage has to be balanced. A man can't just stay out all night long. And a lot of times we got to be brought in. Like I said, my wife had to tell me that I can't just go. I can't just walk out of the house. If my wife would have allowed it, I probably would just walk out the house. Like, we'll be here talking, whatever. The next thing you know, she had the door closed. She like, what? What was that? Somebody breaking it? No, she called me like, I think somebody broke in. Like, no, I just left. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it would be without
Crazy.
balance. I would just roll.
Anyway, the next one I really, really love. And it says, be his biggest fan. Women need love and men need their ego stroked. We need your support, your encouragement, and to know that you believe in us. Tell him that he is a good man, that you're lucky to have him, that he is special and better than you thought. And that's awesome. If he doesn't feel like a man, he's not going to be a good man to you. That's real. Yeah.
I think that's it. Just keep that one simple. Be his biggest fan. For some reason, we have a problem with being humble with our partners. It's very weird. Like, to be able to say, hey, you were great. Like, you were awesome. Like raw, like you get it. Like, you're awesome. You know what I mean? I don't know why we can't do that. Right?
And that goes right into the next one. It's nurture him. And, you say the art of nurturing a man has been lost. Talking sweet to a man, whispering sweet nothings in his ear, hugging him, holding him, squeezing him. And you point out that being a black man is hard, but the nurturing of a good woman makes it that much easier.
I see too many conflicts where the woman and the man are screaming back and forth at each other. Whereas I think that if the woman would say, babe, sit down. Babe, stop, honey, stop yelling. Relax. We're having a conversation. I love you. You love me. We're going to work through it. Calm down. Like, pat him on the hand, calm him down. Like, but women today are like, motherfucker, fuck you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever, you know what I mean? Just like, they ready for the fight. Like,
it's really difficult because what you're asking in this whole article is for balance. You were asking for a woman to have a backbone and to still be soft. And it's just hard to find that middle ground. It's either I'm hard or I'm soft.
No. And you got to figure out what a balance is. Can't be hard or soft. And in that moment, what I'm saying is, you can say, when he's screaming, yelling, going crazy, or even vice versa, honey, we don't have to shout. Okay? Sit down. Let's sit down. You're too excited. Calm down. You know what? Let's talk about this when both of us are in a better place emotionally. Like, you can control it. You can say, honey, let's not. You're yelling right now. I don't want to have a yelling match. I'm not interested. Let's not do this. Honey, please, honey. Maybe, okay, you know what? It was my fault. I apologize. Let me try and restate it. Maybe I misunderstood, or take responsibility. Try to just bring it down a notch. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my wife used to have something early on. We used to fight all the time called check yourself, right? And so when somebody was getting out of line, somebody else get to say, check yourself, right? And we agreed that if you said check yourself, it didn't matter how you said it. If you said those 3 words, check your, can I make it 3 or is it going to be 2? It's going to be 2, huh? Check yourself, right? And so it didn't matter. I know you're going to correct me. I was trying to get ahead of it.
I cannot with you.
And so if you say, and so if you say check yourself, and maybe some people can do that now. If you say check yourself, you have to check yourself. That means that the person who is loud and getting upset gotta bring it down a notch. That's automatic.
Okay.
You could agree.
All right. So your last one is be the freakiest person he knows. And I don't know how you put that in there with the Bible, but I would say give him the impression that you are the freakiest person he knows. He doesn't have to know what all you can do or will do or whatever, but let him know that there's some stuff in Pandora's box.
Yeah, and even once I find that once women get married, we still have this thing where we are kind of shy. There's a lot of women that are still like, can't say the P word out
Yes.
loud. You know what the P word is?
No.
They can't. Can we say it on the podcast? They can't say the P word out loud, and to their husband. I'm like, just with your husband, be nasty with your husband. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't get to be nasty with nobody else. He don't. Oh, I wish I could just go there. I would get in so much trouble. Like, I really wish that I can give you some of the insight that I give wives in counseling when I'm like challenging them to be more risky, to be more nasty, to be more, fun, to be more adventurous, and not be people that's just making love all the time. I don't want to make love the rest of my life. Like, I want to make love a lot, but I'm gonna do some other stuff.
Well,
too. I'm gonna
anybody
do
who
other
wants
things, right?
specifics can
The F
email
word.
you.
Yeah, I can't.
No.
Man, if I was on here going
I think
hard,
you've
getting in
made
so
your
much
point.
trouble.
So now we need to kind of wrap up the show. But
we can save the
okay.
relationship stuff for next week. You know what? Let's just go ahead and want to say something about Las Vegas or something
I am completely. So this government, our government on a daily basis, especially with the president that we have, there's something crazy that happens. This tragedy in Las Vegas, at least 59 people were killed. About hundreds. I've heard 300, I've heard 500, hundreds were injured. And I just do not understand the concept of let's not politicize this issue. It is not about politicizing an issue. It is about resolving an issue that we have on a day-to-day basis. I read somewhere there were 1,518 shootings since Sandy Hook, and yet we still do not have gun control. I found a letter that Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, and Ronald Reagan had written in 1993. These are three different presidents with at least two different ideologies, from two different parties, who all came together to beg Congress not to allow AK-47s to be sold publicly. However, that was completely ignored. That was 23 years ago. And we are still seeing these issues, and they're getting progressively worse and worse and worse. I'm just praying. If you are in the state of Texas, I need you to call John Cornyn, Ted Cruz, or your state representative and tell them that we are totally against the Gun Silencing Act. They call it the hearing. Oh, I forgot what it's called. But they renamed it to make it sound like it's about hearing. But at the end of the day, there is no reason, even if you're hunting, there's no reason why you need a silencer on your gun, and then there's no reason why you need an automatic or a semi-automatic weapon.
How do you feel about the law with open carry on campus?
I think that is crazy. Like they just, a few years ago reopened the tower because they had that shooting in the tower, 40 years ago. And I just think that open carry on a college campus is ridiculous.
Yeah. Just God bless those families and friends, and, hopefully something gets done. So, but, let's wrap it up.
Alrighty then.
So please, I'll do it. Please be sure to subscribe and follow our podcast so you can be automatically alerted when we produce a new episode on iTunes, Spreaker.com, Google Play, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Tell a friend. Thanks for listening. The Voice Not an Option podcast.
I was going to say
bye y'all. Bye y'all or something like that you want to do.